back to yet another very interesting lesson, and today we're going to learn more about
the children of Israel.
The children of Israel.
And how God continued to take care of them,
Yes.
even as they went through the wilderness.
Yeah.
Okay? But before we go back to this part of the story, I want you to tell us what we did last time.
So last time we learned about how Moses was able to take Jethro's advice, and he was able to share his work. He got able men that he was
Yes.
able to share his work with.
Yeah.
And that way, the work was not overwhelming on his side.
Yeah.
And the people are not getting tired to queuing on the lines and waiting to talk to Moses.
Yes, yeah. It was very hard for Moses because the children of Israel grumbled a lot and they complained a lot. But then now when he had other elders who were able to be there with him and listen, okay? So then they were able to resolve all the problems. So Moses did not get tired sitting there all day. And neither did the people get tired when they were standing on the line or waiting on the queue for very long, okay? So today we are going to learn something else about the children of Israel. Something very wonderful that happened to the children of Israel. So this thing is wonderful, but it can also be a bit scary. Okay? So this is what happened. The children of Israel had already gotten to Mount Sinai. Okay? And you remember where Mount Sinai is? The same place where Moses.
Yes, God appeared to Moses in a burning bush. And he actually gave Moses a promise that he was going to bring his people right to that place. And he fulfilled the promise.
Yes, he was able to bring them back to that mountain. And this was the mountain of God. Okay? So now, when they got to the mountain of God, Moses went up the mountain. And when he went up the mountain, he was talking to God. And God told him, I want you to go down and I want you to remind the children of Israel how I got them out of Egypt and how I was able to carry them like an eagle on my wings.
Yes, that is so true, because I can imagine how God parted the Red Sea for the children of Israel. He provided water for them when they didn't have water. He even turned the bitter water into sweet water that they could drink. He provided food for them in the wilderness. He was able to help them win against the Amalekites, and so they were not they were not thrown out of the desert or out of the oasis, because remember they were in those oases. So God actually carried them on his wings like an eagle.
So God took care of the children of Israel, and God really, really loved the children of Israel. So this is what he told Moses to go and tell them, that if they would keep my covenant, they will be a special people to me. So God told them that if you obey me and you keep my covenant, you are going to be a special people.
So that means after all that God had done for the children of Israel, he still wanted them to obey him and to listen to him so that they could be these special people to him.
God loved the children of Israel so much that he wanted them to be a special people. Okay? So that's what he told Moses to go and tell them. And then they were to prepare. They were to get ready. And one of the ways they were to get ready is they were to wash their clothes. They needed to make sure that their clothes were clean because they were going to hear the voice of God.
So that means there's no way they are going to listen to God, or they were going to go near God with their clothes dirty. So they needed to be clean.
So remember, the children of Israel had been going around the wilderness. And in the wilderness there's a lot of dust and it's all dry.
And it's hot.
And it's also hot. But this time round, God said if they would listen to me and keep my covenant and listen to my voice, God actually wanted the children of Israel to listen to his voice and to obey him and to keep his covenant. So the first thing he told them is to make sure that their clothes are clean. So they were to wash their clothes. And then the other instruction that God gave Moses is he said that Moses was to make a boundary in front of the mountain of God. And this was Mount Sinai. So he was to make a boundary.
So that means there was supposed to be a limit to how far the children of Israel would get to the mountain.
So there was a limit. A boundary is either it can be put there like a fence or even a line, or sometimes we know that policemen put a boundary with yellow and black lines, and they put a boundary. So Moses was to make a boundary near the mountain so that the children of Israel could not go near the mountain. And God also told them that not even an animal is supposed to come near. So no person is supposed to come near, and no animal is supposed to come near the boundary. Okay? So that's exactly what Moses did. And then after 3 days, there was a loud sound of thunder that was rumbling. Okay? And then all the children of Israel, they came out from their tents and they stood at the doors of their tent. And then Moses came and he led the children of Israel near the mountain.
So did they know what that sound was?
They didn't know what that sound was, but
so
it was frightening.
Terrified.
Of course they were terrified and they were wondering what's happening. But then they followed Moses and Moses led them. And Moses took them to near the mountain. Okay? And when they got near the mountain, another surprising thing happened. The mountain, right on top of the mountain, there was a cloud.
Oh, so is this the same cloud that was a pillar of cloud that led them during the day in the desert?
Okay, so maybe it was the same cloud or another, but God appeared in this cloud. Okay, the same way his presence was there in them in the desert is the same way he was there in this cloud. And then this cloud turned into furious smoke, and there was a lot of smoke everywhere.
So all this is happening right in front of their eyes.
Right in front of their eyes, and they're looking up at the mountain and they're saying, this cloud that has become smoke, and then suddenly there was rumbling of thunder, and it was so loud, and they were getting scared. Yes. And so the children of Israel were getting worried, and they were getting scared, and they were getting frightened. And then after that, there was a loud sound of a trumpet, a long trumpet sound bursted, and the children of Israel were more scared, and it was so loud. So do you know what happened? Because of all this noise, they got so scared and they told Moses, Moses, please don't make us stay here. We don't want to stay here. We want you to listen and to talk to God. And then after that, we will listen to you. So God spoke. And when he spoke, there was more thunder that was rumbling everywhere. Okay?
So from what you're saying, Chapoli, this is a whole new aspect of God that the children of Israel did not know.
Yes, then they knew that God who got them out.
Water.
Yes, and got them out of Egypt, parted the Red Sea. Yeah, but this time they're seeing God in a different way. They're seeing God with, for them it's scary because it was very, very loud. And this is the way God wanted them to see, because what the children of Israel used to do is that they used to forget, they used to remember the ways of Egypt. And every time, even if God did something big for them, they kept on saying, we'd rather go back to Egypt. And so God presented himself to them in a loud thunder and in loud rumbling so that they can see God in a different way and in a different realm light. Yes. So what happened is the children of Israel actually left that place and Moses continued to go up the mountain. So Moses and Aaron, they continued to go up the mountain so that they could listen to God on behalf of the children of Israel. And the children of Israel went back to their houses.
Because they were so scared
of the thunder and everything that was happening. Okay? So now, how many of you children, let me look at you and ask you, how many of you are scared of thunder and lightning? I can see Teacher Rachel closing her
ourselves when we hide ourselves when it's raining and there's all this thunder and everything.
Whenever there's thunder and lightning, we hide ourselves because we are afraid. But God needed the children of Israel to be more respectful to God. So when God came and appeared to them, they were scared and they were frightened. Hopefully, this would help them learn that they need to honor God, because our God is not a small God. Our God is a very big God. Yes, you remember we also learned that and we sang that song that our God is a big God. So the children of Israel came to know that we serve a great God. Okay, so that's the same thing, children. We need to remember that our God is not a small God, but our God is a great God. Okay, so we are going to sing a song together, and this song says, how great is our God. So every one of us will stand up and we will sing, how great is our God. Okay, kids, so I want us to stand up, and today we're singing a worship song. Okay, and we are worshiping God because He's such a great God. Okay, and you remember we said that our hands are there. When we lift up our hands is we surrender. Okay, and we also worship God with our hands. Okay, so we are going to say how great our God is. Okay, 1, 2, 3. How great
is our God. Sing with me, how great is our God. Oh, we'll see how great is our God. How great is our God. Sing with me, how great is our God. Oh, we'll see how great is our God. Yay.
Hi kids, so we're back again, and this time round we remember the story we've just learned about Moses and the mountain. Okay, so we are going to draw a mountain, and then we're going to draw clouds, and then we're going to draw thunder and lightning. Okay, so what we'll need is like a manila paper. So we have lots of manila paper today. So we have 2 pieces of manila paper. Okay, so this is where we are going to draw the clouds and the mountain. And then we also have a big piece of manila paper that we are going to stick inside. We have a pair of scissors, okay? We have a pencil that is going to help us draw, okay? And then we have some colors right here. So we have like brown and black and gray and blue, and all these are going to help us as we draw our mountain. So what you do is you take your manila paper, the one that is a different color, and that is where we are going to draw our mountain. It is not that difficult to draw a mountain. So if you just follow, you'll be able to draw with us the mountain. And this will just remind us of the mountain of God, okay? The mountain of God where he was able to speak to the children of Israel, or he was able to speak to Moses, and the children of Israel were so frightened. So they just wanted Moses to talk to God on their behalf, okay? So we are going to be able to draw a mountain on that piece of paper. And then when we are done drawing that mountain, we'll take the other piece of paper, we'll put that mountain aside, and then we'll take the other piece of paper, and then we're going to be able to draw a cloud. It's not that difficult to draw a cloud, okay? So a cloud is very simple to draw. You first draw a line across your piece of paper, like that, okay? And then to make a cloud, you like draw like curves, like little C's that are backward, and you draw another curve, and then you draw another curve and another curve, and you keep curving it like that until you get to the end and you're able to draw your cloud. The other thing that we are going to draw after we finish drawing the cloud is we are going to be able to draw like a thunderbolt. Okay, so this is how we draw the thunderbolt. You draw one line that comes down, okay, and then you bring it back like on your right, and then you bring it down again. Okay, so that's one end of the thunderbolt, and then we do the exact same thing. You come down, and then we go a little bit to the right, and then we come down, but this time we make sure that the bolt is joining up at the end right there. Okay, we make sure that the bolt comes and joins up at the end there to make a thunderbolt. Okay, so that's one thunderbolt, but we can also make another one, so that because the thunder that was there in the cloud was a lot of thunder, so we can just do the same thing to draw another thunderbolt. Okay, and you make sure that it joins right at the end there, and that looks like a thunderbolt. Okay, so what we are going to do is we are going to take our color black. We always use it to be able to line it, okay? And this looks a little bit darker, but we just be able to line it so we can be able to see how the thunderbolt is, and even we go around the cloud so that we can be able to see where the cloud is, okay? So we make sure we go around every part of the cloud, okay? So that now when we are coloring this cloud, we are able to see it clearly. The color that will color the cloud, most of the time the clouds are white, but we'll color it a little bit of gray, because white sometimes is not able to show on this paper. And then we are going to color the thunderbolts like red in color. So let's get a gray color right there, okay? And we'll try and color our cloud all the way from one end to the other, and make sure it's gray everywhere. And this will remind us of the way God appeared to the children of Israel in the cloud. Okay? Yeah, so the last time we made a cloud with some cotton wool, but this time we'll just color it. Okay? And then what we'll do with the thunder so that it can stand out, okay, we are going to take color red. And then this color red is the one that we are going to be able to color right inside this whatever cloud. Okay? And my red is. Let me see if I can be able to sharpen this color red. Are you done with your red? Okay. So you make sure that you color all the thunder. You make sure that it's all red. It's all colored red everywhere. Okay. I can see Teacher Rachel is using a bit of blue to make sure that the sky is blue on that end. So when you're done coloring your cloud, okay, we'll put that aside. And then the other color that we'll use is color brown. And we'll take our mountain, and what we'll do, we'll make sure that we line our mountain with a little bit of a dark brown. Okay? So we line our mountain with a little bit of a dark brown on that end. Okay? And then when we are done, because mountains are usually, they look brown, then we are able to color it all the way on the inside, making sure we've colored every part of the mountain brown. Okay? So after we are done coloring that mountain, I'm actually trying to make it look as real as a mountain can look. This is the mountain of God. It's called Mount Sinai, but it's also called the mountain of God because this is where the children of Israel, this is where God talked to the children of Israel on this mountain. So after you make sure that you're done coloring the mountain everywhere, okay, what we'll do is we'll take our pair of scissors. Now remember children, I told you if you're not able to use scissors, you can get a grown-up to be able to help you. But what we are going to do is we are going to cut along this mountain, making sure we go around the shape of the mountain everywhere. Okay, so we go around the mountain, and then we cut around the mountain, making sure that we go around all the curves. Okay, so that we have our mountain right there. Okay, the other thing that we do is we make sure, let's put that piece of paper down here. The other thing we do is also we cut around our cloud. Yes, we cut around our cloud and the lightning bolt that is right there. Okay, we make sure we go around all the curves of the cloud. So we're going around the clouds. Make sure when you're cutting around the lightning bolt, you're careful so that you don't cut it off. Okay, because this lightning bolt just needs to stay right there.
It's very
important. It's very important because when they had the lightning and they saw the light and they heard the lightning, the children of Israel were very scared. Yes, they were very scared and they didn't want to talk to God. But God wanted them to hear his voice.
Yeah.
But because they were scared, God just allowed them. Okay?
Yeah.
They talk, Moses is the one who talked to God while they were on the other side and they were waiting to listen. They were waiting to listen to what God was going to say to Moses and Aaron so that now they can get to hear what God had to say to them because they were a bit scared and frightened. So we are done cutting the lightning bolt and the cloud. Okay, so do you know what we'll do with this lightning bolt and cloud? We'll stick it somewhere just as a reminder to us that God thunders and he has a loud voice that he's able to thunder. But God still wants us to look at him and know that he's a great God. Yes, and that's why we could hear him in the thunder. So there goes our cloud and thunder, and there's our mountain right there. So we are done cutting that. Okay, so then now what we're going to do is we're going to use our glue as usual, and we'll take that and put them aside down here. So this is our mountain, okay, and we'll turn our paper this way so that we can see the lightning bolt that is on top of the mountain. Okay, so when we get that, we stick that, we get our glue and we put it first on the mountain. We put it all over the mountain on one end. Okay. Yes. And we stick that on one end, making sure that there's glue everywhere on all the corners. Okay. And then on the other side, we take the cloud that turned into smoke. Turn into furious smoke. Make sure that you put glue everywhere, even on the thunderbolts.
So that they don't come.
Yeah, so that they don't come out. Making sure you have glue everywhere on the lightning thunderbolts, and then you put that, okay, right there, and that will symbolize how God was there with lightning and thunder, even on the mountain. Okay, so that is it for our craft today. It tells us that we serve a great God. Yeah.
Wow, what a great and amazing story that we are able to share with you. Okay, the story is found in the Bible in the book of Exodus, chapter 19, and beginning from verse 1 all the way to 25. Okay, so I want you to open your Bible so that we can be able to share with you a few verses from this chapter. So we will read from Exodus 19, beginning from verse 16 to verse 19. Okay? And this is what the Bible says. On the morning of the third day, thunder rolled and lightning flashed, and a dense cloud came on the mountain. There was a long blast from the ram's horn, and all the people trembled. Moses led them from the camp to meet with God, and they stood at the foot of the mountain. All of Mount Sinai was covered with smoke because the Lord descended on it in a form of smoke. The smoke billowed in the sky, and the smoke like a smoke from a brick kiln, and the whole mountain shook violently. As the blast from the ram's horn grew louder and louder, Moses spoke, and God thundered in reply. Okay, so those are the verses that we will share from today. This is such an exciting verse of scripture from the Bible. And the reason why it's exciting, because the children of Israel had been able to see a lot of things that God had done. One of the things that God had done for them is that he had helped them to escape from Egypt, and he parted the Red Sea when the Egyptians came to follow them. Something else that God also did for them is that he guided them, and during the day there was a cloud that they were able to see and were able to follow, and during the night there was a pillar of fire that helped them, and it gave them light. They were able to see, and if they had to travel in the night, they could also follow that. The other way that God showed up and showed himself up to the children of Israel was when they did not have food in the desert, and God provided manna and quails for the children of Israel. The other way that God also showed himself up to the children of Israel is when they did not have water, and God provided for them oases, and he also gave them water from a rock. The children of Israel had already seen these wonderful miracles of God, but God himself wanted them to hear his voice. Okay, and that is why he told Moses to lead the children and to bring them to the foot of the mountain so that God himself would appear, so that they could be able to hear his voice. Okay, the children of Israel, when they heard the voice of God, it was loud and it was rumbling and it was thunder that showed, and they got up bit scared because the voice of God was great and the voice of God was big. But then now the children of Israel were able to recognize that this God of theirs was much more greater and much more bigger than all the other gods that were there in Egypt. Okay, so children, God wants you to know that He is a big God and that He is a great God. Okay, so that's it for today. So next time, we are going to continue seeing how God led the children of Israel and He gave them rules and regulations that would be able to guide them in everything that they were able to do. So for now, bye-bye. We'll be able to share next time as we meet together. Bye-bye and God bless you.